been Niagara Falls, and then we're at Mount Rushmore, and now they're talking, and then we get to see them. So that'd be good.
Jefferson asked Meriwether Lewis and William Clark to go on one of the greatest adventures of 100 lifetimes and go explore the uncharted American West. They would gather information on the plants, animals, and people of the region. This group, called the Corps of Discovery, faced nearly every obstacle and hardship imaginable on their journey. And they passed this way on their explorations of the Missouri River. The Louisiana Purchase is considered one of the most important achievements of Thomas Jefferson's presidency. It opened America up for eventual expansion all the way to the Pacific. Only a giant of Jefferson's stature could have envisioned this and made his vision a reality. Abraham Lincoln. He was a giant among giants. So few presidents have been so reviled in life and yet so mourned in death. He led our country through its darkest time, the American Civil War, when we were literally tearing ourselves apart. Why didn't he just let the South go? That was a position favored by many back in 1860. But Lincoln said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." And he had a vision of a united America. He was fiercely political and he wanted to end slavery, but he understood that it required patience, careful timing, and shrewd calculations. After the Battle of Antietam, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation and freed the slaves. And now, he needed someone to win him the war. That man would be Ulysses S. Grant. He had the moral courage to command the army, and he used it for the purpose of uniting the country again. Northern victory in the war preserved the United States as one nation and ended the institution of slavery that had divided us from the beginning. But these achievements came at the cost of 620,000 American lives. You could say that Lincoln was the last casualty of the war. Lee surrendered to Grant on April 9, 1865, and just 5 days later, Lincoln was shot in Ford's Theater. He had a vision for this country and was committed to preserving the Union at any cost. Giants such as Lincoln are truly immortal, and now he belongs to the ages. The last man I will speak about this evening is Theodore Roosevelt. He was a firecracker. He had this abundant energy and spirit, and he was able to focus it on any endeavor he pursued. He said, "Strenuous effort and overcoming hardships are ideals that should be embraced by Americans." Living the strenuous life was one of his mottos, and he led a strenuous life filled with adventure. He traveled the world as a big game hunter. He led the celebrated Rough Riders through the Spanish-American War. He was governor of New York, and he rose to our nation's highest office. His motto, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." And a great example of this in action was when Roosevelt commissioned 16 new battleships, painted them bright white, and sent them on a trip around the world. This was a great way to show off America's military might. One of Roosevelt's many passions in life was nature and conservation. After he became president, he used his authority to protect wildlife and public lands. He created the U.S. Forest Service, 150 national forests, and 5 national parks. One of those forests he created is right down the road from here, Black Hills National Forest. During his presidency, Theodore Roosevelt protected approximately 230 million acres of public land. He said, and I quote, "There can be nothing in the world more beautiful than the Yosemite, the groves of the giant sequoias and redwoods, the canyon of the Colorado, the canyon of the Yellowstone, the Three Tetons. And our people should see to it that they are preserved for their children and their children's children forever, with their majestic beauty all unmarred." Tonight, I have spoken briefly of 4 great men from America's past. Where would we be today without their towering examples of truth, honor, and dignity. The nation needs to recognize its giants, men and women who changed the course of history for the better. We all have the potential to become giants. Truth, honor, and dignity are timeless qualities, and each of us in our own way can set an example for our family and our friends. We can work to better our communities. Mount Rushmore is a monument to the great men who made this nation what it is today. But who knows what the future may hold? Maybe in a century or two, a historian looking back on our time might talk about the great men and women who are alive today. Thank you.
Clapping. I think we get to see it now.
The United States of America. It's hard to imagine, but not long ago, this great land of ours was pure wilderness. A place where millions of bison roamed freely throughout the plains.
That can I go closer?
And those who lived off the land revered it as sacred ground. Yet this country would face a dramatic change, quickly becoming the most advanced nation in the world, in technology, in peace, and in power. From its inception, the United States has shaped itself under the guidance of strong leaders. Leaders who have taken risks, stood up to adversity, and never let go of their vision for a better country. Mount Rushmore reminds us of them, and the countless Americans who have made great sacrifices to ensure the lasting legacy of our country. Freedom. We strived for it, we died for it, we live for it. The year was 1923. The place, the Black Hills of South Dakota. State historian Don Robinson proposed that these granite outcroppings could be the site of an enormous monument dedicated to the heroes of the West, such as Lewis and Clark and Chief Red Cloud. But commissioned sculptor Gutzon Borglum had a different concept in mind. Borglum was a passionately patriotic man, and believed that a more fitting tribute should honor the American experience. A memorial that would represent our ideals, our dreams, and our accomplishments as a country. A memorial that would convey a spirit of patriotism. Borglum chose his canvas carefully. The giant granite rock face of Mount Rushmore.